Greetings, this is Christine Bundy, State Coordinator for the Indiana Assembly. This is GenEd Wednesday, and we are continuing with Brett Allen Winter's Declaration of 76, United States Constitution, a Common Lawyer Comments, clause by clause. And we will first go through last week's questions through the study guide, and then we'll do the reading for today's works, and then go through the questions for those study guide questions, so you'll be prepared to go through those over the week, through the week. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the review from going over last week's. All right, let's get things situated here. Okay, so again, and the link will be in the description with this presentation. Here is the link with the video for the audio on this. Here is, you can be able to see in the reading as well as on the audio. Here is the link to purchase the items yourself and support Brett Allen Winters. His fees do not come back to support the assembly in any way. However, he is on Terre Haute, so support him as he is an Indianian that has been trailblazing through this with us. All right, our Constitution's whetstone. Taken together, our Declaration and Constitution follow the course of common law. The Declaration delivering facts, the Constitution following the applicable standards of law. Number 2, our Declaration facts. Our Declaration's facts. Let's see where that one is at. Our Declaration's facts. In addition, our let's see, where is that? Here we go. Our Declaration's facts. In addition, are your whetstone for sharpening our Constitution's law against its targets, abusers of government power. Number 3, the public. Let's see, the public cannot be too curious. Let's see, where was that one? The public cannot be too curious concerning the characters of public men. John Adams. Look about you and know that the abuse of those in power, are like those of King George and his cronies. All right, in the Constitution itself. Okay, so we have our common law is both, let me get this to here as well, hold on, that would be this here. Okay, our common law is both the lifeblood and backbone of our Constitution. Never let the scholars replace its lifeblood with dead doctrines, or the spineless replace its backbone with a wishbone. That's what I've noticed. Those that are spineless have been replaced with a wishbone, and it can be split in many different ways. All right, number 2, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America, for the United States of America. Number 3, it signifies rather that those bearing common law duties of the militia of the several states, grand juror, petit juror, and if able-bodied to carry arms, to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. Number 4, government has no authority. Let's see. Government has no authority. Here we go. Let's see. The government has no authority beyond the 6 purposes that the preamble lists. Although many liken... Okay, that's going to be over here. Although many liken our Declaration of 76 to Articles of Incorporation and our Constitution to corporation bylaws, the better view is that, in fact, our Declaration of 76 is a common law complaint to be decided, if necessary, in trial by battle, and our Constitution settles a common law trust. All right, number 6, and by this result, let's see, and by this result, the right accrued to the Americans to settle the peace between them and British in separation from Britain and their nation affairs and trust. Number 7, in fact, our Constitution preamble provides 3 certainties indispensable to settling of a common law trust. Certainty of intent is the first one, to entrust rights in property or property in rights for the benefit of another. 2, certainty of rights in the property and rights entrusted. Enabling clear identification from other property. And number 3, certainty of beneficiaries of the entrusted property. All right, number 8, third, certainty of identity of the beneficiaries is seen in the words to ourselves and our posterity. Those people of the United States then ratifying our Constitution, and those people of the United States coming after them. Number 9, at bottom, let's see, bottom, let's see where that's, so let's see, in around here. At bottom, the people comprises the then members of the militia, right? The then members of the militia of the several states, those having ratified our Constitution. They're the ones that ratify the Constitution. Our militia of the members of the militia of several states. The then members, those were the ones that ratified our Constitution. The initial trustees of this trust are the settlers by their agents, the signers of our Constitution, who have provided for the appointment of successor trustees in the body of the document called our Constitution. Finally, and of no means importance to be continued, force of this national trust is the duty of the beneficiaries right? The beneficiaries. Every whit as necessary to the trust achieving its purpose, as is the duty of the trustees to obey the trust indenture called our Constitution. To enforce the trust, that is, to ensure that the trustees fulfill their charge under the terms of the written trust indenture or Constitution, according to the common law of trusts. So if you expect to be a beneficiary of it, you've got to be the one to enforce it. Right? Number 12. Indeed, because Americans, under the terms of this trust indenture, are joint owners of the beneficial title our Constitution bespeaks, the common law of trusts binds each under a duty to protect this interest against all enemies. All enemies, not just some, but all enemies, whether foreign as a member of the militia of the several states by force of arms, or domestic as a member of the jury by force of independent judgment. All right, and number 13. All right. Hence, another cannot take one's liberty, but one can hamper, frustrate, hinder, and even stop the benefits, which are the blessings, and thus the enjoyment of one's liberty. All right, so for today's pages, the pages are 61 to 66 for this next round of reading that we're going to play. Here's the link for it, and of course here is to purchase the book and study guide, but we'll go ahead now and play the video here. Continuing with Brett Allen Winter's Declaration of 76, United States Constitution, A Common Lawyer Comments, Clause by Clause, pages 61 to 66. Article 1, Section 1, Clause 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Comment. This legislative powers clause means that only Congress shall legislate, that is, pass laws. In short, Congress cannot delegate its powers to legislate. Consequently, Congress's ratification of a president's regulations reverses the course of process for passing legislation, or unlawful legislation. The Senate, by the letters old men, affords each state equal representation of 2 senators. The House of Representatives affords representatives from each state in proportion to its population. See this handbook, U.S. Declaration of 76, sections 15, 19, 24, and comments. Section 2, Clause 1. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branches of the state legislature. Comment. Every 2 years, the people of each state elect their representatives to Congress. In order to vote in an election for the House of Representatives, a person must meet his state's qualifications to vote in an election for the most numerous branch of his state's legislature, usually called the state's House of Representatives. See this handbook, U.S. Declaration of 76, Section 8, and comment. Colonial legislatures as Parliament had 2 houses, each independent of the other, and were thus each called a branch of the state legislature. Section 2, Clause 2. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen. Comment. To become a member of the House of Representatives, the candidate must be at least 25 years old, have been a citizen of the United States for 7 years, and live in the state that shall choose him. No more qualifications may be added to these three. Therefore, a candidate can run for congressional representative in one state while residing in another. But the House cannot lawfully seat that representative-elect unless, when elected, he lived in the state that chose him. Because there are only these three qualifications the people have sent to Congress, felons, so-called. See the Handbook, U.S. Declaration of 76, Section 8, and comment. Section 2, Clause 3. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this Union, according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. Comment. Amendment 14, Section 2 modifies the foregoing clause concerning representatives, now requiring only three things. 1. The number of representatives allowed each state shall be based on its population. 2. Congress must tally the people of the United States every 10 years. And 3. Each state must have at least one representative. The reference to other persons in the phrase 3/5 of all other persons is to slaves. Since common law and our Constitution forbids slavery, this part of the clause now has no use. Direct taxes are taxes one cannot avoid by shifting them to another without forfeiting one's rights, such as a head tax on every living person, or a tax on compensation for one's labor or services rendered. This clause requires Congress to distribute any such direct tax amongst the states in proportion to each state's population. See this handbook, U.S. Declaration of 76, Section 19, U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4, Amendment 6, and comments. Section 2, Clause 4. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as they shall by law direct. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000. But each state shall have at least one representative, and until such enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3. Massachusetts, 8. Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, 1. Connecticut, 5. New York, 6. New Jersey, 4. Pennsylvania, 8. Delaware, 1. Maryland, 6. Virginia, 10. North Carolina, 5. South Carolina, 5. And Georgia, 3. Comment. This census clause empowers the general government to number the persons living in each state, beginning in 1790, 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress. And every 10th year after. This enumeration must never be estimated but actual. The clause grants no right to more information. U.S. Marshals gathered the first census. Congress enacted the Census Bureau 112 years later in 1902. The farmers knew that a representative's representation of more than 30,000 persons is meaningless. Thus, as our population grows, the number of congressmen is to increase. In 1929, however, Congress restricted the House of Representatives to 435 members. The purpose of tallying the population in each state is twofold: to determine the number of representatives each will send to Congress, and to enable the burden of direct taxes to be laid on each state in proportion to its population. The farmers meant to avoid today's domineering and meddlesome federal census-taking bureaucrats. In short, the farmers pictured a simple head count of people living in each state so that each state's representation in Congress would be fair for purposes of taxation. Bottom line, the Constitution never empowers government to collect more information than the number of persons in each household. See this handbook, U.S. Declaration 76, Section 19 of comment. Thus, census forms demanding information beyond an actual enumeration run afoul of our Constitution. Section 2, Clause 5. When vacancies happen in the representation from any state, the executive authority thereof shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. Comment. A writ is a written command from one part of government having a certain authority to another part under that authority to do a certain thing. Thus, a House of Representatives seat becomes vacant. This clause requires the governor, the executive authority of the state having that vacant seat, to issue a written order to the election commission of his state to hold a special election to fill that vacancy. If, however, the next regular scheduled election is to be held soon, the governor need not call a special election. See this handbook, U.S. Declaration of 76, Section 8, and comment. Section 2, Clause 6, the House of Representatives shall choose their Speaker and other officers, and shall have the sole power of impeachment. Comment. This clause requires the House of Representatives to choose and seat a Speaker of the House. Its method of doing so is the House's choice and no others. The House's impeachment of a government office holder for wrongs done is akin to the grand jury's indictment of a person for a crime. Just as a grand jury indictment empowers the trial jury to try the one indicted, House impeachment empowers the Senate to try the one impeached. Only the House can impeach, never the Senate. Section 3, Clause 1. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Comment. The foregoing clause requires that each state legislator pick its state's 2 senators for Congress. Amendment 17 changes this clause, requiring the voters to each state to choose their state senator by a majority, weakening the people's stake in state legislature elections, inciting senators to manipulate the people. See this handbook, U.S. Constitution, Amendment 17, and comment. Section 3, Clause 2. Immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election, they shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the 2nd year, of the second class at the expiration of the 4th year, and of the third class at the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every 2nd year. Comment. After the first Senate seated had done all that this clause demands, the Senate still followed this provision as each new state was added with 2 new senators. Consequently, with the exception of 2/3 of the first Senate seated, all senators since have been elected to a 6-year term. To a 6-year term. Okay. The bold continues with, and if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. And in the box, by requiring staggered elections of senators, our Constitution gives us a stable, slow-moving, and sure-footed regular body, less blown about by the ever-shifting foolishness of political winds. So the comment for the remaining bold section, Amendment 17 modifies this clause, changing the method of filling empty Senate seats. The governor of the Senate, needing to fill its vacant Senate seat, must appoint a senator until the people, not the state legislature, elects one. Senators are still elected to 6-year terms, with 1/3 of the senators facing re-election every 2 years, and 2/3 being held over. To balance the Senate's slowness with quicker responses to the people, the entire House of Representatives, by contrast, faces re-election every 2 years. See this handbook, U.S. Declaration of 76, Section 8, and comment. All right, so that was the reading. Let's clear that. And we'll go through then the questions on the study guide for the reading of the pages that we went through. Okay. Section 1, Clause 1, all blank powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a blank of representatives. Number 2, this legislative powers clause means that only Congress shall legislate, that is, blank, blank. Number 3, Section 2, Clause 1, the House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every blank year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the blank requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. Number 4, in order to vote in an election for the House of Representatives, a person must meet his blank qualifications to vote in an election for the most blank branch of his legislature, usually called the state's House of Representatives. Number 5, Section 2, Clause 2, no person shall be a representative who shall not have attained the age of blank blank years and have been blank years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of the state in which he shall be chosen. Number 6, therefore a candidate can run for congressional representative in one state while residing in another, but the House cannot lawfully seat that representative elect unless blank blank he lived in the state that chose him. Number 7, Amendment 14, Section 1 modifies the foregoing clause, Section 2, Clause 3, concerning representatives, now requiring only 3 things. 1, the number of representatives allowed each state shall be based on its population. Number 2, Congress must tally the people of the United States every blank. And number 3, each state must have at least 1 representative. Number 8, Section 2, Clause 4, this enumeration must never be estimated but blank. The clause grants blank blank to more information. Number 9, the purpose of tallying the population in each state is twofold: to determine the number of representatives each will send to Congress, and to enable the burden of blank blank to be laid on each state's proportion to its population. Number 10, in short, the framers pictured a blank head count of people living in each state so that states representatives in Congress would be blank for the purpose of taxation. Number 11. Thus, census forms demanding information beyond and blank blank run afoul our Constitution. Number 12. Section 2, Clause 5. When vacancies happen in the representation from any state, the executive blank thereof shall blank writs of election to fill such vacancies. 13. A writ is a written blank from one part of the government having a certain authority to another part under that authority to do a certain thing. Number 14, Section 2, Clause 6. The House of Representatives shall choose their Speaker and their officers, and shall have the sole power of blank. Number 15, the House's impeachment of the government office holder for wrongdoings done is akin to the grand jury's blank of a person for a crime, just as grand jury indictment empowers the blank to try the one impeached. Number 16. Section 3, Clause 1, the Senate of the United States shall be composed of blank senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof for blank blank, and each senator shall have one vote. 17. Blank blank changes this clause, requiring the voters of each state to choose their state senators by a majority, weakening the people's stake in state legislature elections, inciting senators to manipulate the people. That's why it should be rolled back to the original Constitution, not the addendums. Number 18, Section 3, Clause 2, immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election. They shall be divided as equal as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the blank year, of the second class at the expiration of the blank year, and of the third class at the expiration of the blank year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year. Number 19, by acquiring staggered elections of senators, our Constitution gives us a stable, slow-moving, and sure-footed regular body, less blown away by the ever-shifting blank of political winds. Number 20, Section 3, Clause 2, continued, and if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make blank appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. And number 21, to balance the Senate's slowness and with quicker responses to the people, the entire House of Representatives, by contrast, faces re-election every blank blank. Funny how it doesn't completely have a new face at that point in time, but that's been the people's fault of not fulfilling that aspect of enforcing it. All right, General and Militia Assembly calls. We just had one this past Monday evening on August the 7th of 2023. So then the Monday coming up will be the General Assembly combined with the Militia. Militia Assembly is combined with General and General Assemblies in that because it is integral to all parts of the Assembly. Okay? And so the General and Militia Assemblies are on every other Monday, and then the alternating Monday are the General Assembly. Here are at this point in time, the Assembly's social media links, and if you wanted to support the Assembly with one-time or monthly gift, here is the link. Your support is always greatly appreciated, keeps the work moving. Again, social media connections, link, questions on the Debt Redemption Center, guidance. At this point in time now, there's a uniform instruction guide across the country, and that's included in the guidance details. If you know of other platforms that offer live streaming and chat functions, so email records at the indianaassembly.org so we can see about getting those connected. Seeking up armored up Indianians with member agreement and background check on the assembly record to support managing this aspect of all the social media aspect. Email records at the Indiana Assembly with your qualifications and links to current work. And then here is the updated scheduling link for me. There were issues with the previous scheduling link, so we're trying this one that would also offer some more opportunities for us. So, all right, I want to thank you for this call. We'll see you on next week's call for pages 66 to 71, and I wish you peace and love.